70, isn't it?
Yes.
Thank you. We're going live. Good morning, everyone, and welcome. We are going live.
The Smooth Breakfast presents the headlines, the stories, the news, in-depth analysis of national current affairs. Freshly pressed on Smooth 98.1.
Smooth 98.1. Love music, love life. I'm Ayo Myro Essay, and you are most welcome to today's edition of Freshly Pressed 981, streaming live from our Lagos studio. And have with me this morning our analyst for today. I have Lakunle, whom you met a few days back for the first time, and now he's back again today. Good to have you on the show, Lakunle.
Good morning, Ayo. Good morning, Lagos. I hope everybody's had wonderful holidays over the last 2 days and is back to work today.
Excellent.
Good morning.
I don't know if people are happy with that statement that they're happy to be back at work today. Some people, at least in Kano State and in other states, they've extended it by one day.
Anyway, Friday is usually the step down day of the work week. So
There you go. All right, thank you very much, Lakunle. And we have Waji. Waji, good morning.
Good morning, Aya. Good to see you after a year and a month.
Yes,
Yeah. And
yes.
good morning, Lagos. And Lakunle, good morning to you too. And it's an absolute pleasure to see you.
good morning.
All right.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Waji. Waji's at the corporate MC on Twitter, and that's corporate with a K, while Lakunle is at Lakunle70 on Twitter. But you can follow us at Smooth981FM on Twitter. Use the hashtag freshlypressed981. You can also tweet at us at Smooth981FM. Use the hash. Oh, I said that already. Okay. So you can also send us a WhatsApp message 0809 444 We're streaming live on YouTube, so you can head on there and use the chat box to send us a message. All right, let's move on to our first story, Lakunle. Southeast youth flay withdrawal of police escorts from governors' others. So when I saw this headline, I thought, why are they flaying against something that didn't, almost as if it was swept under the carpet, because a number of people seem to be silent on such a big deal. I don't know if you had heard reactions on this, but the coalition of Southeast youth leaders has flayed recent order by the High Command withdrawing police escorts from entourages of governors and other political leaders in the region. Now, it's worthy of note the reason the High Command, it was said to be an internal memo and it wasn't even meant to get out, because I saw a report, I think from the cable, where it stated that a spokesperson had mentioned, how did you get the memo? It wasn't meant for public consumption. It stated that because of the recent killings of police personnel, a number of police personnel killed by in the southeast, for now, any governor, VIP going to that area would not have the protection of police personnel. However, in this article, the COSIL, which is the acronym of the coalition, said that if you recall, 2 days ago, jihadis killed 31 soldiers in Northeast. Governor of Borno State has been attacked severally by Boko Haram terrorists, and his security details have not been withdrawn. What do you make of this story, please?
Um, um, this story, at the beginning, you want to look at it from a wider perspective.
Okay.
What exactly are we trying to solve? What problem exactly are we trying to solve here? We're trying to say the responsibility the IG owes his men is to preserve their lives. Okay. Does he have the capacity, or do the men have the capacity to protect themselves, given what is happening everywhere? Maybe it's a no. Okay, so the other part of it also is this, that why are we withdrawing from politically exposed persons? We have a lot of other private individuals who the law or the constitution does not give this privilege to, who have them. If you said that you're withdrawing from those kind of people first, which is normally every IG comes and says that as part of his opening, his first speech, close on what's it called? Remove roadblocks.
Yeah.
Withdraws
private security.
private
Yes,
policemen doing
yeah.
private security work and all that. But really, 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 that is where we should start from. We cannot say, okay, these men are being attacked. I understand where they are coming from. The IG wants to say, I'm responsible for these men. Their security and safety is paramount to me, which is fair. And it's also hinting at something to say that the governors or the politically exposed persons from those regions also, it tells me that they should also do what we know, what we everybody has been clamoring for. The law is to your advantage to say that you want state police. Go to where you can make this happen so that not somebody in Abuja can threaten you how you protect your own people. Now, comparing it to, I think we need to also be careful comparing what's happening in Borno with what's happening in the southeast. Yeah, they're both insecurity, whatever. But the Borno one is almost like we are actually at war in that place. The one in the southeast, can we say it is self-inflicted? We have, it's
Not
been able
exactly.
it's
I mean,
not been
that's
confirmed. Yes,
some
they
sort
always
of
say most
terrorism.
times. Yes, I agree. Most times they say unknown gunmen.
Yeah.
We don't know what they are. The one in the northeast, we know what they are. We know where they are from. Okay, so in on that perspective, we need to also be careful and also to separate this security thing from the matter of the presidency. Now, there's a statement here that says that there was a federal executive security meeting and only Northerners were present.
Yeah.
This might be an untrue or largely exaggerated
No, it's
statement.
not. It's not untrue. They actually
I'm
listed.
I'm saying it might be exaggerated that only Northerners were in that council. A federal executive security meeting, federal executive security
They
meeting.
listed. They put the list of the people there, and I mean, except we saw another list, so it was working by the list.
Yeah. Okay. So if that really happened, then but it also goes contrary to what the police says that it was supposed to be an internal memo.
Yeah.
So everybody wants to play the victim here. One, it is wrong for the police to withdraw the security of the governors, the senators. By right, they should have it.
Okay.
By law, they should have it.
Yeah.
You cannot withdraw them. What can you then do to guarantee the safety of your men? Is what within the police apparatus you work out.
All right.
You cannot withdraw them.
All right. Okay, thank you very much, Lakunle. Let's move on to our next story, Waji. President's plea for understanding. Buhari ignorant, full of excuses, says PDP, ACF, PANDEF, others, according to this report in the Punch newspaper. So the President Muhammadu Buhari, on Thursday commented on the insecurity in the country and urged Nigerians to show more understanding. This was in a statement presented by a senior special assistant on media and publicity, Garba Shehu. Now, the underlying word that a number of people attacked here was understanding. No, people give us more patience. I mean, be more patient with us. We're handling this. ACF said, I saw something interesting by the ARA Consultative Forum. They said, we demonstrated a lot of understanding when they elected the president into office in 2015 and more understanding when they elected him in 2019. What we expect from the president is for him to understand the plight of the ordinary Nigerians who feels unprotected. Afenifere says Nigerians won't show understanding with Buhari. PDP says Nigerians tired of Buhari's endless streams of excuses. What are you saying, Waji?
Gosh, this first of all, it's quite a lengthy article, and what I would encourage our listeners to do is please, when you have the opportunity, go online or get the Punch newspaper and read this article, because I think it's quite telling of the administration that we've had for the past 6 years plus, and going on 6 years, and what we've had to put up with. And it's rather unfortunate that the presidency can release these kind of statements. It's quite insensitive. It is also extremely tone deaf, and it does not reassure anybody that of any kind of confidence in our leadership. Leadership is body language. Leadership is perception. And there's a wonderful quote that always speaks to, if you protect my life and property, I will give you my allegiance. It's not the other way around. So you cannot demand from individuals that now you represent to be patient when you have done nothing to give them the confidence to be patient with you. And until you do that as a leader, then I do not know under what platform or what moral authority or what legitimacy you have to ask Nigerians to do anything. It's actually quite shocking, because that is what it's all about. Where are the statements indicating that we are moving and we are mobilizing, we are gathering our forces, we are doing everything we can to protect Nigerians? Where are the statements indicating that we are working with economists, we are working with the relevant private sector to ensure that we boost commercial activity to now get this economy turned around so that Nigerians can benefit?
Yeah.
Where are your reassuring statements to the populace to indicate any kind of confidence for you to even have the unmitigated gall to now begin to ask them to be patient? In the absence of any of those things, I'm sorry, you are absolutely joking. And that is just the truth. And you see, for me, without necessarily going back and forth on this, Nigerians now need to be able to think very thoroughly about what it means to be a Nigerian and what it means to remain in this country.
Yeah.
When you now begin to have conversations with young individuals who are in their 20s or early 30s, and they are all telling you they want to migrate out of the country and go to Canada, it is an impossible and almost rude conversation to tell them otherwise, because what is their prospects? What future are they looking towards? And you see, as a Nigerian, you have to ask yourself this fundamental question about what does this mean? And the reasons being is this: you cannot reason with a tiger when your head is in its mouth.
Thank you. Quotable quote. You cannot reason with a tiger when your head is in its mouth. Thank you very much, Waji. Yeah. Please tweet that.
It's not mine, it's from Winston Churchill.
And hashtag freshly pressed. Tag Waji and tell them, okay, but from Winston Churchill. Very important points. Thank you very much. Just to mention, I think it's important to clarify because the number of you, and thanks a lot for stressing that point, Lakundi. According to this report from the briefing at a Federal Security Council meeting, was actually done by Mr. Usman Baba, the acting Inspector General of Police, also Baba Gana Monguno, who is the National Security Advisor, and the Chief of Defense Staff, Lucky Irabo, who is actually from the South. So to mention that the list that's going around, yes, those officers were there, but they were also diverse in terms of the makeup of the Security Council.
That suggests that meeting, the attendees at that meeting were by virtue of the positions or the job functions they have.
All right, thank you very much. All right, let's go on to our next story. Still on insecurity. Federal government set to prosecute 400 Boko Haram financiers, according to the Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice, Mr. Abubakar Malami, SAN. And he made this known on Thursday, and I think very importantly, part of this very brief article from the Vanguard is that he said the federal government would very soon, through the Federal Ministry of Justice's complex case group, resuscitate and reinvigorate the existing special terrorism prosecution courts in the country in order to bring to book all those found guilty.
My opinion, one word: grandstanding. The first thing is, why do we need to create special courts? What happens to our regular courts? Why can't we empower them to do these things? Yes, in the military era, we're used to a military governor, administrator, or the head of state. Wake up one morning, there's a problem, there's a panel, there's a special tribunal, and so on and so forth. Our regular courts are there. They have everything working for them to be able to handle these cases. The Constitution already defines what terrorism is and the punishments for it. So what is the special court going to be doing? Now, the other part of it is also this, that if we want to prosecute, you say you know them, build your cases, get the financiers now, not even the ones. You already build your cases. You should have built your cases before you come out to say you know them. Okay, so if you have done that, or if you are still in the process of doing that, get it done quickly. Let's get them arrested. Let's put them to trial. We are pandering to so much rhetoric on this thing, and the people out there who are perpetrators and who are suffering these things, we appear helpless. We wait, something happens, we make noise, we cry, we pay ransoms. Somebody denies we don't pay ransoms, then they release them, and we wait for the next one to happen. Like I said the last time, we need to take a position, whether a mix of the two positions I said, the military option, or we continue to pay money and allow this thing to go. But for how long will we do that? It's a devil's alternative. Something has to give. And a government, just like the last story we just spoke about, Nadawaji just spoke about now, you must give the citizens something to hold on to say, I trust this man to get me out of this trouble. That is what is lacking, because this statement says we will is an anticipatory statement. It's not that we have put this thing in place to do this by so dates. That's what governance should
So we
be.
need a more accurate or a tougher or more reassuring statement, or perhaps even beyond statements, action.
Yes, actions.
Okay.
Now we've been at it for God knows how long, since 2010 when the first bombing happened in Abuja or something.
All right, thank you very much. Like Tayo from Maja says, you want to prosecute financiers when courts are on strike. Let me imagine what it would look like, since it's not practical. And then Ada has a few things to say. She said, I do not understand the comments this morning on the withdrawal of security of governors in the Southeast. Are we saying the police's responsibility is now protection of themselves and not members of the polity? Attacks are an occupational hazard for them, surely. Then to say that the issues in the Southeast areas are self-inflicted is not very good in terms of your choice of words. In the Nigeria of today, who told us that the gunmen in the Southeast are different from the ones in Borno? Splitting hairs will not help us, and that we shouldn't dilute the issue. Chris is also of that opinion, saying that, so I think people are saying we cannot say that the insecurity in the Southeast is self-inflicted. Thank you very much for your comments. We move on to our next story. From Daily Times, Waji, £4.2 million. Federal government begs Ibori to withdraw suit against the United Kingdom. I think I'll just allow you to take, because when I read this headline, I was just thinking to myself, what's really happening? Well, please, Waji, take us to, so they are begging okay, let me just take us to this.
Yeah, this is one of those things where impunity meets serendipity, and it happens not to be a good relationship. You know, this is what happens when institutional corruption becomes normalized. End of story.
Yes.
I really don't know how else to explain this. The mere fact that you have an ex-convict in the name of James Buhari, who now belongs to the Yoruba Progress Union, and they now have this interesting perspective that the loot that he illegally amassed and happened to store abroad should somehow be routed back through this union and to his specific state is laughable to the point of sheer misery. And I honestly don't know how else to interpret this. And I do enjoy the response from the government on indicating that under no circumstances can this even be a consideration that we take seriously. The current government of Delta State are not even putting forth an argument of the repatriation of those funds to come to Delta State. But James Buhari, who is behind this particular union, and these people are representing him, are more or less telling the UK government that they filed this suit and telling the Nigerian government that that money is mine. And the mere fact that they can stand on the audacity of it shows that this is what happens when institutional corruption becomes normalized, is because you start speaking as though it is your right to money that you stole. It is absolutely insane. So until we get beyond this mindset, but once again, right, I blame us. And I honestly cannot blame anybody else but us, because we've allowed this.
Yes.
When this individual returned to Nigeria, we celebrated him. There were parties, there were parades, there were ceremonies that welcomed him back.
Don't say we.
No, I'm going to say no. We cannot, we cannot absolve ourselves, because we all contribute in some way. Let me just deviate for 1 second on why I say that. When you see the governor of one state marrying the governor of another state, and you attend that wedding, when you know that the hundreds of millions of naira that is spent on that wedding is illegally acquired, but you attend, you participate, you drink the champagne, and you eat the small chops,
you post on your social media,
you are part of that problem. No matter how you try to disassociate yourself because you did not put your hand in the honeypot, but when you encourage behavior and you do not speak against it, you normalize it. So I'm sorry, these individuals did not get there on their own. We actually allowed them to go through that particular journey. So I blame us. I blame us for the normalization of this behavior that now gives this individual the audacity to come out and demand for money that he stole.
Shots fired. I hope some people some people will just be feeling it as they're saying, if you attended the wedding, if you posted it on social media.
People know who I'm speaking to, because I've been very clear about this thing for a very long time.
Thank you. Thank you. Truth and nothing but the truth. Let's move on to our next story. Luckily, protests as customs men kill 5 Salafon seekers in Oyo State. This happened in Iseyin in Oyo State yesterday. It's a very sad story. Men of the Nigerian Customs Service allegedly shot dead 5 persons in the town during a clash with suspected smugglers. You know why this story? One of the things I thought about when I read through this story was that the other day we were talking about the government, the Minister of Information and Culture coming out to say that the reason why the presidency hasn't acted in terms of fishing out kidnappers as they knew where they were was to avoid collateral damage. So at that level, we want to avoid collateral damage, but our own guns, in terms of the guns from the custom people, it's killing our own people. So this is one too many times we've seen incidents like this.
That are very, very unfortunate incidents that would easily have been avoided. What can one say but to first commiserate with the families of the 5 men whose lives got short by that incident. Now, to go further, just a few days ago, I think I saw a video of a Senate hearing. A senator was speaking about customs activities. I think the issue of the Ibadan one that the market rate in Ibadan, I think got to the Senate. The senator happened to be a former customs officer. The custom officer representing the custom at that hearing was his direct report when the senator was in service. And the senator was speaking directly to him. When I was commander in Kano, every time you say you want to go and raid market, what do I tell you? I tell you, don't go there because I can't afford to lose my men. We don't know what will happen with the people we are going to meet. That our customs is the only custom in the whole world that is still carrying guns. He said,
live bullets.
He said further, I watched that video, and even though it sounded somehow, but it made sense to me. He said, we have approved so much money for you. If it's recruitment you want to do, recruit. That, look, smugglers would always find a way to beat the system. And when they do, consider it to be their luck. You go back and make sure that they don't succeed the next time. Stay within the 40 kilometers radius that the law allows you to monitor the border. Don't go beyond, meaning from the border.
That's
40 kilometers inland.
That's a fantastic point. That defines your jurisdiction.
To stay there and make sure within that 40 kilometers you're able to arrest as many. Once it gets in, leave it. The man said it on live TV. I saw that video just 2 days ago. Now, so it also tells us another thing. What is the mentality of the people we put our guns in their hands? What do they think that having that gun makes them lord of the manor over the people?
In many cases,
we have what's it called? The ones in black now, civil defense. Civil defense. They carry the bear arms.
The many of them,
the bear arms.
Well, I think that's even the first question. Customs, why do they, if you're going into, like you mentioned, a 40-kilometer radius, and then bearing arms, they're not at war. You go into a public space where there are civilians and you're shooting sporadically into the air.
The thing is, they made a case for themselves to carry guns because smugglers were killing them one time. So they got it. You know, today, Federal Road Safety Commission is also lobbying for their men to start to bear arms.
All right.
So that's also there. So having said that, it's very unfortunate people were jubilating. You go to the middle, you know, those kind of communities are places where people return to go and have a time of their life during festivities. People will be outside and all that. Now, the other part of it is also now to appeal to our young people, particularly people of Iseyin at this point in time, to be calm. They shouldn't take law into their hands. We would know where it starts. We would not know where it will end. And we need to pacify them and allow as much as possible, as the paramount ruler of Iseyin has promised, that
And they are saying of saying.
yes, the Assembly of saying has promised that they will follow up the case and ensure that justice is done. I think that this is a learning curve for all arms bearing
Officer.
officers of all our security agencies to be more circumspect about how and where they use these things.
Thank you so much. Sheon says the only thing our security operatives are very efficient at is killing innocent civilians across all the agencies across the nation. This is their forte, not bandits, not terrorists, not hoodlums, not unknown gunmen, but innocent civilians. That's very sad. Daily Times reports, Waji, soldiers write Buhari kick against Nigerian Army salary deduction for housing scheme. Some soldiers in the Nigerian Army have sent a Save Our Souls message to President Muhammadu Buhari over the Nigerian Army's planned deduction of their salaries to pay for some, in quotes, fraudulent Nigerian Army welfare housing scheme. Please take us to the story, Waji.
Yeah, what I don't understand, and I tried to get to the bottom of it, but I couldn't find out, and it'll be interesting if maybe a statement can come out to indicate whether or not these soldiers were made aware that money will be deducted from their salary for these housing schemes. It is not something that is unpopular. It happens all the time, but it has to be done at your consent. You have to opt in to any plan that has a direct deduction from source, which is what this is. But I think more importantly, the larger question is that why would in a federal apparatus such as the Nigerian military, would you be deducting money from the salaries of the commissioned officers and non-commissioned officers and senior non-commissioned officers versus an allocation from the federal government for the building of that scheme? So it's a bit murky in terms of the details.
Yeah.
And I think it'll be very interesting to get to the bottom of it, because if there was some plan within the military where they're like, okay, well, from your salary we're going to do this, we're doing it on our own, we're not getting money from the federal government, do you want to opt in? And that's a different conversation. But if it's imposed on them, then it's not right.
Yes, and I think I need to mention as well, because we keep talking about the cost of governance, that I don't think the members of the House pay out of their salary to fund housing. I think they give them housing allowance that we pay for, and then our soldiers maybe that's why they don't want to die. They withdraw them because we don't make it worth it. There's no benefit.
Right. I can't even get a house.
All right, let's move on to our next headline here. Lakunle, proposed national carrier gets $250 million lifeline. We're talking about this again. It looks like the minister or the Ministry of Aviation would not let this go. We must have that carrier. All right, so the Ministry of Aviation in the memo disclosed that the private sector would avail the fund of $250 million in line with the public-private partnership design for Nigeria Air.
Like you said, it looks like our minister, Hadi Sirika, is bent on leaving a huge legacy. By the time, I hope I'm correct, Hadi Sirika?
Yeah, Hadi Sirika, yeah.
A huge legacy on the aviation space by the time he's done as Minister of the Federal Republic. Let's backtrack a little bit. You know that the first attempt at doing something like this was, I think, in 2004 with Virgin Airlines. They were supposed to have 51% and 49% to the federal government of Nigeria. And of course, Nigeria happened to that business and folded up about 4 or 5 years after. And there was another one in between. So this is the third attempt. In 2018, when this first came up, the Farnborough thing, the logo, blah, 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 the minister said they were stepping it down because there were no budgetary provisions made at that time. Now, I'm assuming that this $250 million is in the budget.
He said it's from PPP, so they want to raise it through private partnership.
Okay, so it's not, no money is coming from the federal government.
No.
Okay,
they want to try and do it privately.
So I was going to refer to the 2018 plan. So since no money is coming from the government, so then the details of how they're going to raise the money is the next thing we would expect to see. Then the first question, maybe the first thing I should say is that what are we hoping to gain from having a national flag carrier? That's the first definition.
Hadi Sirika on the show to
explain. That's the first definition that should be clear to all Nigerians. That what is our plan? What are we hoping to gain from having a national carrier? What benefit will it be to Nigeria and to its citizens? If that is clear, then have we identified this private initiative, private partner, if we have, what is their reputation, what is their history in the aviation industry? So it's not just enough to say there is money. There are things to make it clear so that it is ab initio, transparent, and we're sure that there will be accountability. It will be a good thing to have, yes, but if it is not something that, if there are other things that far outweighs having a national carrier right now, I think we should shelve it, but it's a good to have.
All right, yeah. So, like Shagun says, Shagun said on WhatsApp, if state governments can operate airlines without criticism from the public, why not the federal government? I remember when Ibom Air was announced as being launched. You know what people said? Government has no business doing business. I must say, however, that they've proven so far to be quality, credible, and a lot of attention has been put into that. If we can expect that from the national carrier, then it would be something that would possibly, excellence on time. It's now the preferred choice.
Absolutely.
A lot of people.
That's why I said the first definition is
to make a case for it.
What is our plan? What do we hope to achieve? What do we want to do with it? That once it's well defined, it will not be a problem to have it. We are 200 million people. They want to fly to, the plan is to fly to 81 destinations across the country.
With $250 million.
No, that's for the first 3 years. The plan was to start with 15 leased planes, and the first 3 to 4 years,
only buy 5.
30.
Listen,
not buying. Listen.
Okay, no, let's watch it. We hope it will come to pass. But Waji, just touch on this very quickly. It's our last story, and just as I have mentioned, NDLEA, that's the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, arrests former Lagos Council boss at Lagos Airport. He was caught with 10 kilograms, I believe, of cocaine. Former Vice Chairman of Lagos Island East Local Council Development Area, Mr. Ashekun Kende Sakiro.
What do you want me to say? He's about to lose his job.
Oh, is he?
I don't know.
I'm even saying about lose his job. Do people even lose their jobs even for cases like this?
I mean, fantastic. I mean, NDLEA, fantastic job in apprehending this individual, and I think we need to see more of it. More cases like this need to come out.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. A big thanks to our analysts today. Good conversation. And to all our listeners. We're out of time, but I want to read Modupe's comments because I think it's important with regards to the Army story that you took, Waji. So one of the reasons that the U.S. Army remains one of the best in the world is because it's one of the best employers in the world. The benefits are to die for. I have classmates that graduated from university with a single objective of joining the U.S. Army. Nigerian soldiers can barely get a housing scheme going. Next thing, we'll be charging them for the uniforms and rifles they use. On that note, to wrap up today's conversation, thank you, Lakunle. Lakunle is at Lakunle70 on Twitter. Waji is at the Corporate MC on Twitter. That's Corporate with a K. And we are Smooth981FM. Use the hashtag FreshlyPressed981. In a few minutes, Tega will be joining me for today's edition of the Locker Room 981. And please don't forget to complete our feedback form. We'd like to know how to serve you better and how to sound better to give you a better listening experience. It's on all our social media platforms, including our website, www.smooth981.fm.